Hello and welcome to Bounding Into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding Into Comics. Today, we're going to be looking at the Black Widow box office projections and how they look absolutely terrible. Before we get to that, I'd like to ask if you could please hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. If you are already subscribed, please make sure you are still subscribed. Sometimes YouTube likes to unsubscribe people for whatever reason. And then hopefully by the end of this video, I will have earned your like and that you will give us a like. And then you'll share this with your friends and family. And then also don't forget to hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future Bounding Into Comics videos. With that out of the way, let's get to this story. As I said, the Black Widow box office projections look really, really bad. And these projections are coming to us from box office tracking and forecast website Box Office Pro, who recently released their projections for Disney and Marvel Studios' upcoming Black Widow film. Box Office Pro predicts that Black Widow will have an opening weekend between 65 and 90 million. However, they specifically home in and predict the movie will make 77 million in its opening weekend. As for its domestic total, they believe it will make between 155 and 225 million. These numbers are abysmal for a Marvel Cinematic Universe film, despite Box Office Pro trying to put a spin on them, claiming that the movie, quote, is still the kind of event tentpole with four-quadrant appeal that's likely to attract more people back to theaters and set new pandemic-era benchmarks at the domestic and international box office, end quote. If you look at previous Marvel Cinematic Universe films, the lowest opening weekend was The Incredible Hulk back in 2008. It had an opening weekend of 55.4 million. In fact, there are only 5 MCU films that have made less than 77 million in their opening weekend. Aside from The Incredible Hulk, the other 4 films are Ant-Man, Captain America: The First Avenger, Thor, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man made 57.2 million, Captain America: The First Avenger brought in 65 million, Thor grossed 65.7 million, and Ant-Man and the Wasp raked in 75.8 million. If you want to give Black Widow the benefit of the doubt that it will hit the higher end of Box Office Pro's prediction at 90 million, it only moves up 2 spots, beating Doctor Strange, which brought in 85 million, and Thor: The Dark World, which earned 85.7 million. Then obviously looking at the lower end, the only films that it beats are Ant-Man, which was 57.2 million, and The Incredible Hulk, which was 55.4 million. And remember that lower end for Black Widow was 65 million. However, if you factor in inflation, the film falls farther down the list. Black Widow would be the 3rd worst performing film on opening weekend if it made 77 million. The only 2 films it would beat would be The Incredible Hulk and Ant-Man. Again, even if you believe it will hit 90 million, it's still a poor performance after adjusting for inflation. It only beats out Ant-Man and the Wasp, Thor, Captain America: The First Avenger, Ant-Man, and The Incredible Hulk. As for Box Office Pro's total domestic prediction, it looks even worse than the opening weekend depending on which end of the spectrum you look at. If you look at the low end of 155 million, the only film it beats is The Incredible Hulk, which grossed 134.8 million. But if you factor in inflation, The Incredible Hulk beats it by $13 million. That would make Black Widow the worst performing MCU film of all time, based on factoring in inflation. At the high end of 225 million, it is still low in the totem pole, only beating Ant-Man and the Wasp, Thor: The Dark World, Thor, Ant-Man, Captain America: The First Avenger, and The Incredible Hulk. However, adjusting for inflation shows a little bit of a different story. It only beats out Thor, Ant-Man, Captain America: The First Avenger, and The Incredible Hulk. So it still would be one of the 5 least grossing films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe history. And if you look at that, most of those films are Phase 1 films, pre-Avengers. The only exception is Ant-Man there. So things are not looking good for Black Widow at all based on these long-range projections. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Box Office Pro's long-range predictions, if they factor it up or if it goes down even further. It'll be really interesting to see as we get closer to that Black Widow release date here at the beginning of July. But let me know what you think about these predictions, about how terrible these predictions are, and let me know what you are expecting from the Black Widow film. How much do you think it will make opening weekend, and what do you think it will gross overall at the domestic box office? My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding Into Comics.